They invited Earth as a joke, but humans became the only ones taken seriously. The Galactic Council chamber erupted in what could generously be called laughter, a cacophony of clicks, wheezes, harmonic vibrations, and the occasional explosive gas release that passed for humor among the assembled species. Ambassador Zethkri of the hegemony wiped moisture from his compound eyes, his crystalline carapace still trembling with mirth. "Oh, this is rich," he chittered to his aide. The humans actually showed up. At the far end of the massive amphitheater, a small delegation of 3 beings sat quietly in chairs that had clearly been designed as an afterthought. The furniture looked almost comically undersized compared to the towering representatives around them. The 15-foot Kavari with their flowing tentacles, the crystalline Zephyrians, whose bodies refracted light in mesmerizing patterns, and the gaseous ethereals contained within their environmental suits. Ambassador Sarah Chen adjusted her simple black suit and glanced at her companions, Dr. Marcus Webb, a xenobiologist whose excitement was barely contained, and General Patricia Hayes, whose military bearing remained unshaken despite the obvious mockery surrounding them. Sarah had expected this reception. When the invitation to join the Galactic Council had arrived via quantum transmission 3 months ago, Earth's best minds had debated whether it was legitimate or an elaborate hoax. The debate had ended when the invitation specified that Earth should send representatives to discuss their quaint little planet's potential contributions to galactic civilization. The condescension had been palpable even through universal translation protocols. "The chair recognizes the delegation from Terra," announced the council speaker, a massive slug-like being whose voice resonated through bioacoustic amplifiers. More tittering echoed through the chamber. Sarah stood, her voice carrying clearly through the translation matrix. "Thank you, Speaker. We're honored to address the council." "Yes, well," the speaker's tone dripped with barely concealed amusement. "We understand your species wishes to contribute to our grand alliance. Tell us, little humans, what exactly can a species that has barely achieved interplanetary travel offer to civilizations that have mastered galaxies?" The question hung in the air like a challenge. Around the chamber, representatives leaned forward in their various ways, some literally, others through bioluminescent displays of attention, and a few by temporarily solidifying their gaseous forms. Sarah smiled. "We'd like to present 3 case studies from our recent history." She activated a holographic projector, crude by galactic standards but functional. The first image showed a blue-white planet wreathed in swirling storms. "This is Europa, one of our gas giant's moons. 6 months ago, the Kavari Mining Consortium established an extraction operation there." Murmurs rippled through the Kavari delegation. The operation failed catastrophically when the automated systems couldn't adapt to the moon's seismic activity. 43 Kavari died. The chamber fell noticeably quieter. "Our proposal was rejected at the time," Sarah continued, "but we'll present it again. Humans have been mining in seismically active areas for centuries. We don't rely solely on automation. We adapt, improvise, and make real-time decisions. We could have saved those lives." The second hologram showed a vast space station, partially collapsed. Nexus Station 7, the Zephyrian trade hub. 2 weeks ago, a cascade failure in the crystalline matrix network brought down 30% of the station's infrastructure. Several Zephyrian representatives flickered with what their species displayed as embarrassment. The failure occurred because the system couldn't handle an unexpected variable, a solar flare that created harmonic interference. Dr. Webb stepped forward. "Zephyrian technology is magnificently efficient when operating within parameters. But solar flares aren't predictable down to the microsecond. Humans have spent generations learning to work with imperfect information and chaotic systems. We call it educated guessing, but it's really applied chaos theory." The third image showed a massive cargo vessel drifting in space. The ethereal transport ship whispered thoughts. General Hayes spoke for the first time, her voice crisp and authoritative. "Lost with 400 souls when pirates overwhelmed their defensive algorithms. The ship's AI calculated a 14% chance of survival and surrendered rather than risk damage to the cargo." The ethereal delegation's environmental suits dimmed noticeably. Humans don't surrender at 14% odds, Hayes continued. We've won battles at worse odds than that. When Commander Chen here, no relation to our ambassador, defended the Mars research station with 12 security guards against 40 raiders, the odds were significantly worse. They won by doing something no algorithm would recommend. They pretended to surrender, then used the raiders' own boarding craft against them. Sarah stepped forward again. Every species here excels at something. The Kavari build wonders. The Zephyrians create beauty beyond imagination. The Ethereals achieve perfect efficiency, but you all optimize for success within known parameters. She gestured to her small delegation. Humans optimize for survival when all the parameters are wrong. We're the species that looks at impossible odds and says, "Hold my beer." The chamber was silent now, the earlier laughter completely absent. We know we're the newest members, Sarah continued, and we know our technology is primitive by your standards. But when your perfect systems encounter imperfect situations, when chaos theory meets engineering reality, you need someone who doesn't just think outside the box. You need someone who doesn't even acknowledge the box exists. Ambassador Zethkri stood slowly, his compound eyes fixed on the human delegation. The hegemony withdraws its objection to Earth's membership application. The ethereal delegation's spokesperson, their voice a harmonic whisper through their environmental suit, added, "The collective finds merit in the human proposal for adaptive consultation services." One by one, the other delegations voiced their agreement. The species that had been invited as a joke had just talked their way into becoming the Council's emergency response specialists. As the session concluded, Speaker turned to Sarah with something that might have been respect. "Tell me, Ambassador." "Chen, what exactly is this beer you mentioned?" Sarah grinned. That speaker is going to require a much longer conversation. The laughter that followed was different this time, not mockery but the beginning of understanding. Humans, it seemed, were about to become the most popular species in the galaxy, for all the worst reasons and all the right ones.